stones for, mate? You flick stones up at me, you dickhead. Fucking idiot. Thinks he's doing me a favour. Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, I'm going to explain why I chose the Fuelpak3 over Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. Let's get into it. Okay, the Fuelpak3 versus the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. I own both. I've got a Fuelpak3 and I've got a Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. Now the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner was the tuner I first purchased when I had my aftermarket exhaust installed. Now it wasn't the tuner that I originally wanted to purchase. I wanted to get the Fuelpak3 straight off the bat, but this was my first Harley I'd ever bought, and I was a bit worried. You know, the dealership made me paranoid, because at the time they claimed they'd never heard of a Fuelpak3, and you know, it was going to void my warranty and all this sort of crap. You know, they were rambling on about how much a new engine had cost and all this sort of shit. So in the end they made me petrified, so I just bought the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. Now in hindsight, I should have done what I originally wanted to do, and originally what I wanted to do was I wanted to install the exhaust myself, because it's basic shit as far as I'm concerned, and I wanted to install a Fuelpak3 to flash the engine with a new exhaust. But no, what did I do? I got sucked in by the dealership. I got them to install it. I purchased the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, and they flashed the engine with the Super Tuner. Right, now the Super Tuner, I'm not here to actually bag the absolute shit out of the Super Tuner, because it does work, and I've got no doubt it works the same as the Fuelpak3. But the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, it's not a cool product. It is not a cool product. It's just as expensive. Actually, I think it was a little bit more expensive than the Fuelpak3, and it's just not user friendly. Pretty much, unless you're really good with mapping and all that sort of jazz, you've got to take your bike to a dealership and have them flash your bike with your Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. So I've got these particular Vance and Hines pipes on at the moment, which Vance and Hines high output 2-in-1, which I've already made a video on. I'll leave a link in the description below. But say for example, in a year's time, I got the shits with these exhausts and I wanted to change them, and I wanted to get a different set of exhausts, say short shots, Vance and Hines short shots, just a random exhaust that popped into my head. Say in a year's time I wanted to get those. Obviously the bike's going to need to be reflashed, because at the moment I'm running a 2-in-1 and I'd have to reflash ECU. So if I was just running the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, yes, I could reflash the bike from home, but I'd have to buy this special lead that plugs into the Super Tuner, that'll plug into my laptop. It's just stuff around as far as I'm concerned. And even then, I've checked out the software online for the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, and I honestly, what the fuck is that guy doing? And I'm really not confident that I could use it. I'm really not that confident that I could use the software that's needed to be used to flash or add whatever data you need to add into a Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. So getting to what I was saying is if you got a different type of exhaust, you then have to take the bike to the dealer with your Screaming Eagle Super Tuner and have them reflash your bike. Now, if we compare that to the Fuelpak3, it's a completely different ball game. It's like the Fuelpak3 is a tuner made for dummies. That's how easy it is to use. And you can do things on the fly. When I say on the fly, not actually while you can't actually flash your bike while you're in motion. Currently I have my Fuelpak3 plugged in to the bike, which you don't have to do. You know, you can flash your bike, then unplug it and it's good to go, but I leave it all plugged in. I could actually pull over onto the side of the road now if I wanted to and change the mapping of the bike. You know, if I felt there was an issue and the bike was playing up and I decided I just wanted to flash it back to the factory map, I could just pull over to a safe place on the side of the road and flash the bike back to the factory map. Well, with the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, it's not that easy. I'd have to have a laptop in the back of my backpack and pull over to the side of the road, plug it in, sit there with a laptop, and you get the idea. It's a whole lot of bullshit. The Fuelpak3 is not like that. It's very user friendly. It involves an app, the Vance and Hines app, free app, and it's just easy as anything to use. The other bonus with the Fuelpak3 is there's an option where you can view your sensor data. Hence what I've got here on my mobile phone. You can see it's showing me everything. It's showing me the volts, how many volts I'm generating at the moment, the engine temperature at the moment, the revs, speed, throttle percentage, and there's so many other options. You actually get, I think it's four you can preset 4 home screens and you can just flick through whatever screen you want. It's really, I reckon it's a great invention. The only catch with the Fuelpak3, like the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner, they're both the same. They are married to a VIN number, so once you typed in all your information and you select OK, that's it. The Screaming Eagle Super Tuner and the Fuelpak3, they are married to that particular VIN number, and there's no turning back. There's no selling your bike, unplugging your Fuelpak3 and taking it to your next Harley. No. Give it to the person who's bought it, because that's the only person that will ever be able to get any use out of it. I think I read somewhere a few months back where the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner may not be available for sale in the US or in certain states of the US anymore. I can tell you in Australia they're still selling them. I can only tell you this from my experience. Anyone out there who's buying a Harley Davidson, who's planning on putting a new set of pipes or a new high flow air filter, a heavy breather, whatever you want to call it, and you plan on doing it yourself and you know that the bike needs to be flashed, my advice from experience is, you know, if you can do all that stuff yourself, go for it, because these bikes are fairly basic. Do it yourself and buy a Fuelpak3. Don't waste your time with the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner. And like I said, it's not to say that the Screaming Eagle Super Tuner is a lesser quality product. It's not that it's not going to do what you want it to do. It's just that it's a lot more fiddly. It's not user friendly. It's not a cool product. Whereas the Vance and Hines Fuelpak3, that is one cool product, I gotta say. It's great. You might ask me, well, you've had both tuners on your bike. Well, which one do you feel that the bike runs better on? Well, the truth is, as I said earlier, it's not this, I'm not saying that the Screamin Eagle Super Tuner is no good. The bikes, in terms of performance, if there is a difference, it's barely noticeable. And the bike, I think the bike runs slightly better running on the Fuelpak3. I get about an extra 20 kilometres out of the tank, because the thing about the Fuelpak3 is that once you have gone through the initial flashing your bike, you know, you've got to, it's so straightforward. It'll ask you what particular bike you've got, what make, what particular bike, what particular exhaust you've got. Have you got a quiet baffle? Have you got a standard baffle? What type of heavy breather have you got? You've got standard, have you got aftermarket? No, it gives you quite a range of choices to select from. And then you flash your bike. What the Fuelpak3 then offers you, which the Screamin Eagle Super Tuner does not, is you've got the option. You can then, once you've designed that map, you can then auto-tune it, refine it, take it out for a ride. And I think they recommend a tank load of fuel. So in the case of this Dyna Lowrider S, I'm getting about 340 kilometres to the tank. And you auto-tune the map that you've installed. And it's very basic. And what you do is, well, what I did was I rode the bike as I always ride it. I didn't ride it any different to how I would normally ride it, because I wanted the bike to be tuned to my style of riding. And so what happens is you end up getting a screen full of all these little checkered cells, and the cells start off blank, which is the colour white. And then when the tuner decides that it's gonna what's the word I can use? When it's going to calculate a particular cell, it turns yellow. That means it's calculating that particular cell. And then eventually that cell will turn green. That means that particular cell's calculated, tuned. And you're not going to calculate every single cell on the screen. It'll be just like a blob of, you know, green and yellow. And you'll see, once you ride around for a while, you can see it and you think, well, you know what, I'm not actually calculating any more cells. You know, my style of riding, it's pretty well done. And the great thing about it is, you know, you don't have to, when I say you've got to use a full tank of fuel, you don't have to get on your bike at 7 o'clock in the morning and go bang, start riding for hours on end to drain that whole tank of fuel. The beauty with the Fuelpak3 is you can do it over 2 weeks. Oh, this road's as rough as guts. So you can turn your bike off, go to bed that night, wake up in the morning, come out the next day, turn your your bike on, and the Fuelpak 3, once you go to auto tune, you can continue on. It'll actually ask you if you want to continue on with the auto tune. So, you know, you can do 50 k's a day if you want. You don't have to do the whole 300 odd k in one foul swoop. So that's another great thing. You know, that gets back to what I was saying earlier. It's a real user-friendly gadget. In terms of comparing the Fuelpak 3 and the Screamin Super Tuner in terms of performance, one thing I did notice with the Screamin Super Tuner was I was getting a lot of D-cell pop, and of course really the only way I could fix that is I'd have to take it back to the dealer and say, hey listen, look, you know, it's getting a bit of D-cell pop, rah 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 rah. Whereas when I flashed it with the Fuelpak 3, the initial flash was very much the same, getting a little bit of D-cell pop. However, once I auto-tuned it, well, that was gone. So the auto-tuning did make a difference. Generally, I leave the Fuelpak 3 connected to my bike, and this is where I leave it. I feel it's quite safe there. I've never had any issues with it in that particular location whatsoever. So I've never, you know, I washed the bike, and actually the first time I washed the bike I left it in there, and then I took it out once I'd finished drying the bike, and it was dry, you know, it didn't get wet at all. So I'm quite confident that's a pretty safe spot. But you know, each bike's different, not every bike's going to have that particular location to keep it. So, but like I said, you don't have to have it connected to your bike once you've flashed your ECU. However, if you want this particular type of display on your phone while you're riding, you will have to have it connected while you're riding. They're connected via Bluetooth. Dalrymple Road, where the fucking hell am I? Dalrymple Road, I might go down here and see where that goes. Sunbury 4 kilometres, Riddle Creek. Riddle's Creek. It's blowing a fucking gale today. I got a package in the mail today, or a parcel I should say, all the way from California. I got some Lucky Dave's Lucky 13 bars. So in the next couple of videos, that's going to be one interesting situation I'm going to put myself in. I'm going to try and install these 11-inch Lucky Dave bars. Something I've never done before. I found another YouTube channel that I subscribed to a couple of days ago. Came across on my YouTube suggested activity feed. It's a guy in England, and his YouTube channel's called Street Bobber Vlogger. And, he rides a 2018 Harley Street Bob. And I've not seen anyone, well, not that I've been actively looking, but I've not come across anyone that's customising one of the latest, you know, soft tails. It's a nice looking bike, actually, a really nice looking bike. He's put some risers and bars and so forth on it. It's really coming up a treat, that bike. So check out his channel. It's not bad at all. Street Bob Vlogger. Actually, I don't know if any of you guys are Formula 1 fans. I am myself, and that particular guy I was telling you about, Street Bob Vlogger, his voice, he sounds exactly like Lewis Hamilton.